two Americans earn roughly the same salary. They have roughly the same savings. They need the same $30,000 car. One pays cash, the other takes out a loan. At first, the decision looks obvious. One person avoids interest, the other keeps more cash in the bank. But 10 years later, the answer isn't nearly as simple as cash is better or debt is bad, because the real question isn't how the car was paid for. The real question is, what happened to the money that wasn't used to buy it? That's where this story gets interesting. Ethan and Marcus are both 31. They work in the same industry in a mid-sized American city. Both earn around $88,000 a year. Both have approximately $40,000 in savings. Neither has credit card debt, and both have a similar monthly budget. Then, within the same month, both of their cars die. They need reliable transportation. After looking at several options, both settle on the same $30,000 vehicle. Now they face the exact same decision. Ethan wants to pay cash. Marcus wants to finance. Neither decision is automatically right or wrong. Ethan likes certainty. Marcus likes liquidity. And both believe their choice will leave them financially better off. But neither knows yet what the next 10 years will look like. Ethan pays the full $30,000. The transaction is simple. No lender, no monthly payment, no interest, no 5-year loan hanging over his budget. He drives away owning the car outright. But there's another number Ethan can't ignore. His savings account has just fallen from $40,000 to $10,000. That feels uncomfortable. One unexpected emergency could consume a large part of what's left, but Ethan has eliminated one major monthly obligation. There is no $495 car payment, and that creates an opportunity of its own. Because every month he doesn't have to make a car payment, he can potentially save or invest that money. Ethan doesn't realize it yet, but that monthly amount is going to become very important. Marcus makes a different choice. He puts $5,000 down and finances the remaining $25,000. For this story, assume a 5-year loan at an illustrative 7% annual interest. His monthly payment is approximately $495. Over 60 months, Marcus pays roughly $29,700 in total loan payments. That means approximately $4,700 goes toward interest. But Marcus keeps $35,000 in his savings account after making the down payment. Ethan has $10,000. Marcus has $35,000. At first glance, Marcus looks financially stronger. He has an extra $25,000 available. But there's a condition. That money has to do something productive. If Marcus simply spends it, the entire logic of financing changes. And that's exactly where the comparison gets more complicated. Marcus decides to invest the $25,000 he kept available. For illustration, assume that investment earns an average 7% annual return over 10 years. If $25,000 remained invested for the full decade, it could grow to roughly $49,000. That sounds impressive, and compared with the approximately $4,700 of loan interest, Marcus might appear to have made an obvious financial win. But that comparison isn't complete. Marcus also has to make a $495 payment every month for the first 5 years. Ethan doesn't. So Ethan has an additional $495 every month that can potentially be saved or invested. This changes the calculation. The real comparison isn't simply $25,000 invested versus $4,700 of interest. It's a larger amount invested earlier versus smaller monthly investments made over time, while one person pays interest and the other doesn't. And that is a much more important comparison, because the final result depends not only on the loan rate and investment return, but also on what each person actually does with the monthly difference. Ethan starts investing the money he would have otherwise used for the car payment, approximately $495 every month. For the first 5 years, he invests that amount consistently. If those investments also earn an illustrative 7% average annual return, Ethan could accumulate roughly $35,000 by the time Marcus finishes paying off the loan. And Ethan never paid the bank the roughly $4,700 of interest. Now, the story is no longer cash versus investing. It's a large investment today versus smaller investments every month. Marcus has the advantage of putting more money to work immediately. Ethan has the advantage of avoiding interest and investing the monthly amount that Marcus has to send to the lender. Neither advantage is guaranteed to win. And now, real life is about to enter the calculation. 2 years into the story, Ethan's company goes through layoffs. He isn't fired, but his working hours are reduced. For 4 months, his income falls by almost 30%. The difference suddenly matters. Ethan has no car payment. His monthly budget has one less major obligation. He cuts spending elsewhere and uses part of his emergency savings. It's not comfortable, but the car itself isn't demanding $495 every month. Marcus experiences a difficult period too. His income falls, but his $495 payment remains. The bank doesn't reduce it because his paycheck got smaller. Marcus considers selling some of his investments, but the market happens to be down. Selling now would mean turning a temporary market decline into a permanent loss. Instead, he uses some of his cash reserve. Both men survive the difficult period, but they experience the advantage of their decisions differently. Ethan has a lower monthly obligation. Marcus has more liquidity. This reveals something important. Liquidity and low monthly expenses are both forms of financial strength. They simply protect you in different ways. There's another number both men have to accept. The car is losing value. It isn't producing income, paying dividends, or appreciating like a successful investment. It's depreciating. Insurance, maintenance, registration, and fuel all cost money, whether Ethan paid cash or Marcus borrowed. The financial difference comes from the financing decision. Ethan used $30,000 immediately. Marcus used $5,000 and borrowed the rest. The question is what each person did with the money afterward. That distinction is critical because the car isn't what makes either person wealthier. The financial behavior surrounding it is what matters. 5 years pass. Marcus has now completely paid off the car loan. His total loan payments were approximately $29,700, including roughly $4,700 of interest. His original $25,000 investment, under the illustrative 7% assumption, has grown to roughly $35,000. Ethan has no loan. His $495 monthly investments have also grown to roughly $35,000. Ethan never paid the bank's $4,700 in interest, but Marcus had a larger amount invested from the beginning. At the 5-year checkpoint, there's no obvious knockout winner. They're surprisingly close. Marcus has finished paying for the car. His $495 payment disappears, and now he can invest it too, just as Ethan already has for 5 years. But Marcus still has one difference. His original $25,000 investment had 5 additional years to compound. This is where the relationship between the loan rate and investment return becomes extremely important. If investment returns average more than the borrowing cost, financing can become attractive. If lower, paying cash becomes more attractive. But there is another factor: risk. The loan payment is contractual. The investment return is not. The market can rise. The market can fall. The loan doesn't care. 10 years after the original decision, Ethan and Marcus look back. Both still own the same type of depreciating asset. Under the illustrative assumptions in this story, the two strategies end up surprisingly close. There isn't enough information to declare one universal winner, and that's actually the point. The answer isn't cash always wins or financing always wins. It depends on the complete financial picture. If Marcus had simply kept the extra $25,000 earning almost nothing, he would have paid $4,700 in interest for no benefit at all. That's the hidden variable. Halo Waho ear you. Now imagine the loan rate wasn't 7%, but 12%. The cost of borrowing becomes much more painful. Now imagine the opposite. A very low interest promotional loan. Suddenly, keeping more money invested could make much more sense. The numbers matter. The financially stronger choice depends on the interest rate, the investment opportunity, the emergency fund, cash flow, job stability, and most importantly, what actually happens to the money you keep. The question was never, should you pay cash or should you finance? The better question is, what is every dollar doing? $1 can reduce debt, sit in an emergency fund, earn a return, or disappear on something you barely remember. That's the wealth nest approach. Don't just look at the monthly payment. Look at where every dollar goes,